All right. Jean Francois, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
One thing that maybe we can start with is it seems like you've been a digital nomad for quite some time.
Yes.
And I was a digital nomad for many years before I had kids and we started slowing down. My wife wanted a garden. So that's like one of the hardest things. You can't really pack a garden with you. So we ended up settling back in St. Louis. But I was really curious. I have this theory that I wanted to run by you because as I was interacting with a lot of digital nomads, it was like some people would go to certain places, Bali or Portugal or Colombia or wherever, Mexico. I know you're in Mexico. But my theory is that, and this is based on some research, that like when you go to a place, your light, your biophotons stay there for some time. And my theory was that like people would, their higher self or something would be directing them where to go around the globe to like activate certain things either within themselves or on the actual physical globe. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. People, they ask me all the time, like, are you gonna settle down at some point? Why you don't settle down? They project on me like this concept of stability should be linked to like having a physical space, And I'm like, I don't know, like I don't feel stability for me is that, and we all have different style. And I'm going through on a journey now. Is it gonna be like that in my life? I'm not sure, but I am definitely being guided to move to these places. And each time I arrive to these places, even it started before, like the moment I book the flight, it's like a ceremony. The moment you book a ayahuasca ceremony, you're going to start receiving the healings. So the moment I book the flight, I enter the timeline. And when I enter the timeline, I start receiving the downloads already. So like I'm going to Japan in 2 days and I booked my flight a few days ago. The moment I booked the flight, I started receiving heart activation. I started crying out of gratitude for things that I cannot really comprehend. And that's what Japan does for me. And that's why I go back often. And I wouldn't be able to explain it fully. For sure, I have like past life there that are very anchored. There's things that came in different past life regression, but it's this feeling of deep peace, of deep silence. And it's just the moment I arrive, just like, yeah, I walk slowly. I'm aware of everything. Everything is like slow motion. I'm like crying of gratitude often. And it's what they showed me recently on a mushroom trip. I actually did a mushroom trip like 10 days ago. But last time was like 4 years. So it's like I'm going through this phase now where I'm integrating all this. But they show me that everything we do in life is a path. So a person that we have in our life is a path. A project is a path. Like your podcast, for example, is a path. My business is a path. The trip that I'm going on is a path. And these paths are in a way hero journeys and they are different essence of life. They're different fragrance. And they show me in the trip where like I have these people in my life that I have for a certain path that wouldn't be as light as I wish, but they show me how this path is needed. It's an understanding of a different fragrance that I wouldn't be able to experience in this life without these people. So that's what Japan gives me. And I like to share to others that Japan, for me, it gives me the feeling of having a small sister, a young sister. I don't know the example if it's good or not, but it's the feeling that I have. And yeah, it's hard to explain. All my life I wanted to have a sister, and I went through different like download channeling of why this. And then this is also coming up in my book, the Octarian novel I'm channeling now. The central piece at the first part of the 3 part of the book is about me and my Octarian sister. And then she ended up dying. It's a big thing where like it goes back to the whole story to grieve her. So everything is interconnected, right? There's no coincidence. So I'm processing things that are hard to comprehend, but there's soul baggages. They're mirror for my own personal life. Like, for example, when I channel a scene for a book, it's always like a similar thing that happened in that week in my personal life. So yeah, everything's a mirror. Like even this is a mirror. Like we're tapping into things here that I'm sure it's interlinked to things that happen in your week and in my week. I'm sure we are mirroring some type of process that we need to embody together. And it's always like that.
Infinite. That's such a fascinating way of describing Japan. I would never have come up with a place feeling like having a little sister. I've never had a little sister.
Yeah, I know. It's the first time I say it out loud or like to somebody that I thought close to me. the bicycle. It does feel weird to say this, but that's how it feels like.
What
Yeah.
what is that? Could you try to explain that in more words, maybe what that feels like?
Yeah. It's so hard. It's a deep heart feeling of deep unconscious love, compassion.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a knowing. It's a knowing. It's a deep knowing. Yeah. It's something that cannot be understood with the mind. So,
Yeah. Podcasting about things you can't understand with the mind.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, like maybe we should just do a podcast in silence, and I'm sure people would receive. And I tell this to my clients sometimes, like people, they ask me, oh, I missed this recording. I don't have the time to do it because the recordings sometimes are an hour and a half. And I tell them, like you could just like put it on mute, press play, and you're going to receive the frequencies. Because like the moment that you press play, you acknowledge I'm receiving. So you're receiving the transmission. Obviously, you're not receiving as much as you're like there aware and conscious, but you're still receiving subconsciously.
Yeah, I did notice that. I did your Kundalini series, and there's like long stretches of silence. A lot of meditations are just like the person is always sort of
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically your embodiment is a transmission. Like me in this life, I did a lot of like soul travel to mental projection journey in different realms, planet, dimension, universes, and things like that. I met with all these beings, but each time we meet with these beings, they transfer us some codes. And in a way, they are codes that we already had in our soul. It's just that they were not activated, and they're most are activated in the soul star chakra, and they start dropping down to the body. And then through all these codes, like just my embodiment of being present here, subconsciously people, they receive it through their intuition, their heart, whatever it is. They showed me actually 2 days ago, like I should start doing Instagram reels of just not saying nothing, just film myself and being silent, and the right people would see me, my energy, my eyes, and would receive the downloads without even trying to transmit something telepathically. Just the embodiment. And I was like, okay, am I gonna do this? I'm gonna try. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's different for sure. I don't know if people are ready for this, but
I was a while back, I was joking like, hey, I just finished my next book, but it's not on Kindle. Like you just have to access it telepathically. Like,
yeah,
let me know
yeah.
how you like it.
100%. 100%. It works like that. It does work like that.
People are like, I really like page 483.
I met once a very advanced astral traveler, and he was telling me like, "Do you know you can create your own universe?" I was like, "Okay, what do you mean?" Like, "Yeah, try it." And I was like, "How?" I was like, "Just have the intention of wanting to create your own universe, and then travel into it." As I'm speaking about this, I just received a massive here buzzing confirming this. Just enter. But basically, it's like, yeah, like your intention is creating anything. So if you have an intention of creating a universe, and then you put whatever you want to put in it, like like these animals, these plants, these or things that doesn't exist, these frequencies, these emotions, and then you feel in your heart, you believe it, and you're anchored into it, and then you could travel into it. You can mental travel, eventually you can astral travel out of body into it. So basically, I created it, and I said, okay, it's done. And this guy traveled into it, and he was like, I see this, and that, and I was like, wow, it's exactly this. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
You made it and he went there.
Yeah, and he was like, your universe has 108 dimensions, blah, 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 blah. He was telling me why this. So yeah, I was like, well, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
My kids, they have these games that they play on their
Uh-huh.
tablet, and
Uh-huh.
they can build the worlds, and they
Uh-huh.
actually like to building the worlds more than playing.
Sense, makes
It's
sense.
pretty interesting.
They actually create a world either in the ether or in a different realm when they do this. When we write a book, we create a universe too.
Yeah, so better be a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what I tell people with the book I'm channeling, because I had this process at the beginning, realizing, wait, am I just the transcriber of this story? And I was like, I don't want to just be the transcriber. And then they told me, no, like you have your say into this. You can change it with the story. You can bring your personality, your perception, your experience and wisdom into it. And then they show me how by doing so, I'm co-creating. And by creating that co-creation, I am creating a different version of them in a different parallel universe. So it's like through me and my 3D perspective, they learn about themselves. And then through this learning, they evolve into a different version. And it's very hard to grasp, but
Can you talk a little bit more about the book? What's it about, and
it's,
what's the
it's,
process?
it's, it's, um, fascinating story. I didn't channel the full thing. I believe I channeled 60% of it. I'm channeling scene per scene, and it's the evolution of the Octarians moving from, I believe, the end of the 3D, 4D to the 7th dimension. And then, so the first part of the book in the 3D, 4D, they're on their planet where there's a bunch of stories that happen where, first of all, like my Octarian sister dies, and that's a big thing. And then the planet gets destroyed by these beings coming from another universe. There's some type of a wormhole, black hole that opened because of a 3-star alignment. These beings from another universe that is not really made of galaxies and stars like us are coming in, and then they're looking for a gemstone on this planet. They remove the gemstone per planet. The soul of the planet died. They destroy everything and then get saved by the Blue Avians. So there's some type of a call that happened in the Akashic records. The Blue Avian, they receive it and they come save half of the Octarians. The other half, they die on the planet. And then they go on this journey of finding another home, another planet. But to find another planet, they need to learn how to evolve. So the Blue Avian teach them on how to evolve into a 5th dimensional beings. And then they find this planet that is 6th dimensional. So they need to find a solution because they're not ready to be 6th dimensional. So they go to a partnership or negotiation with dark beings that have this black box technology. And this black box technology is allowing them to create a dome in this new planet to be able to sustain their 5th dimensional body by the time they evolve into 6th dimensional beings. But eventually that black technology that is very conscious take control of the whole city. It is infiltrating in every building and in everything. And it's creating a wall in the middle and separating the collective in two. And so they're imprisoned by what they created eventually. And then so they start channeling how they can free themselves. So they start creating ceremonies of 5 to ascend Octarians up into a 7D white round. But this is not enough. They need to balance it with like a 7D black round that is under. So they start teaching us about like black power, which nobody really talks about in the spiritual industry. This whole topic of the black source and the black power is the foundation of everything that we're seeking, but we're not realizing. Like any trauma or any like siphoning attacks by service to self, any control by the reptilians, grays, or it's all about like siphoning our black source power that we don't know we have. But once we reclaim it, then we're naturally protected because we own it. We're sovereign about it. So they teach us all this, and the whole story on and on. Eventually, like Mark Twain meet the princess of the kingdom in the 7D. They fall in love, and then there's a whole like project to create a new kingdom and a new planet, and they start negotiating. They go meet with the white lion, the celestial round, which is another aspect of me. And then they come into Venus and they do an agreement with I believe like one of the high priests or maybe Lady Venus to create like a 7D realm here. And I believe that it's actually here on Earth that they are creating this new 7D realm, kingdom / city. And then it's interlinked with the new Earth, basically. I'm going to be shifting from the whole story of the Actarians in the book to what is happening here on Earth as we're transitioning to 5D to 5D. Basically, it's a very similar story because the transition to 5D is about liberating ourselves from the dome. That is also created by this black box technology. So a black box technology is something that is able to contain the black source, which is the depth of primal force that can feel like mother power. And we can see different archetypes or know different archetypes in the spiritual industry that are embodying this energy. Like there's Sekhmet, there's Set, there's the Black Octarians, there's the Black Panthers, also the Muffin line. There's a realm of ascendant master in a black realm. So they master black swords. So the black sword at the beginning is very chaotic. It's like tentacles. It's like petrol. It's like Venom, the movie. And it wants to take over, it wants to control you, wants to possess you. But if you're bringing your light into it and compassion, you're holding space for it, it starts softening and into a statue, into something that is very strong, unbreakable, unshakable. And everything that we see outside of us is a reflection, a mirror for inside of us, right? So there is a source of black power inside of our body. So when we start tapping into it, then that's really when you can start feeding yourself out of some type of a source without like you feel the need to eat less, sleep less, all these things. And this topic is like endless. I could like just ramble about this for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get into the Black Power side of things, which definitely is pretty unique, do you have a sort of a clear explanation of what is 5D, 6D, 7D, like conceptually?
Yeah, it's the body is different. I think it's the best experience that we can share is the body is different. So in 3D, the body is carbon, like what we're having now. And when we move to 5D, the body becomes crystalline. So the body becomes lighter each time. And we do things differently. So for example, they show me that in their initial planet, which is like 3D, 4D, they eat fruits. So they eat lighter. And then when they start transitioning into 5D, they start feeding themselves out of this liquid. And then when they move into 7D, they feed themselves out of a popsicle. It's like a popsicle made of a lot of life force. And they don't need it, but they like doing it. They basically feed themselves out of prana, but more and more you tap into feeding yourself with source. So in the 6D city of the Arcturians, the 6D Arcturians, they still need their blue. They still need to feed themselves with source. So there's different mini temples in the city where every day they go there. They're held by masters, and then it's almost like you're getting for a massage for an hour. They go there for a short period of time, and they pat themselves in the shower of white light, and then they receive like downloads about what is going to be their next cycle, what is their next download, their next task or whatever. And they're like in peace, and they in whole complete one with source. And then they come out of it like, it's like rebooting a battery or whatever it is. They're fully rebooted and they're ready to go for a new cycle. That's how they live their day. They don't have days like us because they're not bound into a sun that is turning into whatever construct that is. So it's like a source is coming down. It's like in a way, and this is happening, I believe, in every planet where there is species. In a way, the 7 is an anchor of source light, and the kingdoms there that are run by the king, the queen, which are the last embodiment of individuality. After that, there's no more individuality. They are mastering divine union. So mastering divine union allow them to have like some type of a sexual ceremony, which is not really sexual. They're like bonding with each other so deeply. They're becoming one, and then they're channeling pure light. And they show me this multiple times where like this portal is entering them, and then they're spreading that light and through thought manifesting the kingdom, holding space for hundreds of thousands of beings. But then after this, it's creating that realm, and then that realm is shooting that white light down. So then it's shooting different portals in this blue city. And these portals are like, so the blue Arcturians, they don't have access directly to that white light. So they need to go to ceremonies. Where like the white Arcturians, they're always in it. They don't need to do ceremonies to reboot themselves. They're always living it. And all this is so complicated. And it's like,
Yeah. So there's a couple different color, like levels of Arcturians that you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%. So the blue Arcturians that are very popular here on Earth, it's because they're paying, I believe, and that's what I understood and received, they're paying 2 karmic debts. So they're finishing karmic cycles. So the first one is because they got saved by the blue avians. So now it's like their time to do the same. They come save another species. And then I received massive goosebumps just saying this. And then the second karmic debt is that the black box technology that they received was negotiated by these beings that are service to self negative beings. They're like giant gorilla robots. And these giant gorilla robots, they're doing human woman trafficking. So somehow they're able to, I don't know, kidnap women in other planets, and then they bring them into the planet and they put them into pods, and then they plug them and they siphon their life force. And it's like a machine. It's a whole like factory of pods, and then siphoning life force of women, and then going down into the underworld, and then feeding three mother bugs. And we can see these concepts in DC movies. Like there's insights everywhere when you look at it properly. DC movie, Marvel movies, all these things. You can see like all these little hidden messages of that.
How do you think those filmmakers get the messages?
Yeah, like I believe they're channeling 100%. They're channeling without being aware that they're channeling. Yeah.
What do you think about this term that people talk about, like predictive programming, where they'll like create a movie that they want to become the future?
It is very conflicted. So for example, if we take Marvel, right, which is like linked to the whole Hollywood industry, well, there's a lot of negativity in these movies, a lot of programming, brainwashing. There's probably subliminals in the back end. And me, each time I watch this movie, I feel it. Like my cycle is being siphoned. I need to protect myself. There's a bunch of process I go through. But I like watching them because like there's so much download that I'm receiving from them. There's so much hidden messages I'm receiving. And this is a way my path of exploring all movies. All my life, I've been fascinated by movies and all genre. There's different genre that I like more. And I feel like, yeah, like I don't know, I really liked it. And I was like, okay, why? And then now it makes sense because they're asking me to turn this Arcturian book into a movie. And then now with AI, it's like everything is so divine planning. Like I can see how in 6 months from now, I'm going to be able to produce my own movie pretty much at a low cost with AI, like,
Oh
cause
yeah.
like now I'm creating Octarians being with Midjourney that there's almost perfect, like almost there. It was hard to do them 3 months ago, but now they're getting like super good. And now you can transition them into these new like apps that turns them into videos. And I'm like, whoa, I'll send you one after you. And you're like, whoa.
Wow, that's
And
fascinating.
then after this, you can make them speak and all these things, you know. But there's going to be distortion in my book because I'm channeling things that are higher dimension. They're not English, and I need to turn them into English. Like there's scenes in the book where like there's two beings that meet. Like Mark Twain at some point they meet with the king of the White Kingdom, and then they meet in 1 second. Somehow I don't know why, but the king goes above, and then they meet like this, and then they both do a circle of light. They press different light codes, they exchanged, and it felt like a conversation of 5 hours happened in an instant. Like they negotiated a whole planetary deal of how they're going to access the new 7D realm in one instant like that. So that's what happened. More that we move also in dimension, more that things happen faster. We can create cities like this. They create their 6D cities in one instant. They communicate faster through telepathy and light language. Everything happens faster. There's less gap between your thought and your manifestation.
I'm wondering, do you have any thoughts to help people get more from the movies they watch? Like you're receiving downloads from the movies. Anything you can share with people to help them access that when they're watching, one of these popular movies?
It's about setting the intention and then being a channeler. Like being a channeler, it's not like, okay, I sit here and then I'm going to channel. When it becomes your lifestyle, you channel all the time. So we're all channelers. It's just like an embodiment. It's like you need to believe it. You need to practice in it. So I tell people like at the beginning, practice 15 minutes every day. Go on Zoom, open your webcam and do it as you would be serving somebody. So you see yourself, you're serving yourself and you start recording. When you start recording, things happen differently. And you speak out loud, you're transforming the non-physical into that's why the is such a powerful energy center. And most people or everybody here in this collective is going through a massive throat awakening because the is the conduit of all chakra. And we see this in human design where the throat is like connecting everything. So through the throat, speaking out loud, I'm manifesting these energies. So I express, okay, now I bring attention to my heart. Okay, now I start seeing like a green tourist field. I start with the basic. I start with what I know and I start finding a flow into it, a rhythm, and I find a momentum. And maybe I'm going to start saying, oh, wait, my heart right now, I see that there's a white gemstone and I start expressing and things evolve. And then after this, I can set the intention to welcome beings. I tell people like go in your own etheric temple. We have all our own etheric temple. Mine is, I can actually start seeing yours right now. And it's like, if you don't know what it is, the intention to go there, you go there and then you're fully protected. And from there, you can welcome beings and you'll know that are beings of light because beings that are not of light cannot enter these temples. And this happened to me. I was testing like the truth about different spiritual teachers on earth and I was trying to welcome their soul. And there's some that they couldn't enter my temple. I was like, okay.
Oh, that sounds juicy. What
Yeah,
are you
I
allowed
don't
to
want to
share?
call people, I don't know. I don't want to call people out, but yeah. We need to understand that everything that we see out there is part of the matrix, including the spiritual industry. And the rabbit hole goes deep, 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 deep. And the grays, the reptilian, they've been here for a long, 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 long time in this whole universe, galaxy, and on this planet. And therefore they infiltrated the spiritual industry in a way that is very deceiving. Like, and it's not obvious. It's like the best technique is the technique that they use for religion thousands of years ago. It's like, I'm going to give you a lot of light, but once you're in, then I'm going to, like when you're least going to expect it, I'm going to come behind you or whatever. And that I'm going to take slightly something that you're not even going to be aware of.
Yeah. And I suppose the best way is just to have your own, like not relying on other. I mean, we all need teachers. We all need
Yeah, we
guides.
all need teachers. Yeah. And you don't need to protect yourself. Like if anything happened to you in these things, it was meant to happen. Like there's a part of you that manifested that.
You don't need to protect yourself. That's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, it is. Right. So the ultimate protection is the heart center. So once you are embodying your heart, like the heart is repulsing the darkness that are not belonging to something that is mirroring inside of you. So if you're encountering dark beings, it's because there is still a consciousness inside of you that is resonating with that is mirroring that. And therefore that's why you're having this experience. And there's maybe soul, vows, agreement, contract, and all this. Maybe it's all individual processes. But yeah, it's very hard to explain at the same time. But
Out into the world, like to places. And I find this when I go to like the DMV or something, these like, I don't know, very depressing buildings to be in. How do you manage like interacting with like, I don't know what people would call like very dense locations when you go there?
I have this mindset in my life, and I try to share with people that I'm striving to become an ascendant master. I don't know if it's gonna happen, and I'm not like, it needs to happen, But having this goal is always allowing me to reflect on what's going on, and having this goal is resolving a lot of problems in my life, and it's been happening for a while now. So, for example, like if you have like a money problem, and you're focusing on fixing your money problem. Well, just you wanting to fix the problem is creating a problem. Like you're creating that reality by like just having yes, it's like the whole journey. You need to go to transmute all these things, but there's a point that you're looping in this problem because like you're just seeing the problem. But if you're going above it, then naturally it resolve. So if you're going to the top that we could imagine, and I believe that, yeah, it's like being an ascent master. Maybe there's in this life, there's obviously more. Like there's a book that says that the ascent master only reached 7.5% of the ascension journey. But in this life, I believe that that's the path. But it allows you to resolve a lot of things in your life. And then in these moments, I try to walk as it. And I walk like in the mall as like, okay, I'm so powerful of light that nothing can infiltrate my light. And if something is actually siphoning, hijacking my light, it's because it's mirroring something inside of me that I need to process. So in a way, everything is a gift, everything is a miracle, everything is just a message for you to allow you to embody more light.
Do you have an example of a problem that's been solved by just viewing yourself as having this goal of working towards being an ascended master?
Yeah. I think over time, life becomes just easier. Like I don't see my 3D life as I used to. And sometimes I have glimpse of that where they say things and I'm like, wow, that's so interesting you say this. You wouldn't be even part of my consciousness or whatever it is. It's little things. Like, for example, like if I'm on a flight and there's disturbance or even if the plane start tipping, it's like, I know there's no stress, like things like that, little things, little moments, like same thing with planning for the future or whatever it is. There's so much peace into being held by the universe of like, I don't need to figure and plan things too much.
You run a business where you offer courses and sessions with people. How do you apply that to running a business?
Definitely I couldn't do this with investors because investor would be like, hey, show me a quarterly profit and all these things. So me, because I'm by myself, then I can just decide to not work for 6 months or whatever it is, and so less and less, I don't need to like go in this 3D mindset of like, I need to produce every month X amount of money and all these things. I can just go through different cycles. Life is about cycles, and more that you tap your life into cycles, more and more that you're aligned to the universe. So basically, the whole thing that is creating decay in our life is linear time. Linear time is progression. Progression is like point A to point B. And then this is a whole program that is created by the fourth dimensional AI, by all these beings, by the dome, all these things. But when you move above that program and you like are anchoring a mindset, a consciousness of 5D, every beings, they live in cyclical time. As I told you before, like they don't live this day. Like they live cycles and they receive the download of what is going to be my cycle. If they not able to evolve out of the cycle spiraling up, then they can project themselves into parallel life and live that parallel life for an instant and then come back into their current timeline. And it's in a way of astral travel. It's like we're going to be able to go there when we're going to merge astral traveling in the dream realm with our physical body. When we're going to merge all these things, we're not going to need the dome anymore. And then we're going to be living in cyclical time. And then through this, it's about mastering time, basically. Like, and I'm sure you heard this, time is our ultimate present, because the future is like affecting the past, and everything is looping, and then all these realities, and it's so complicated for our 3D mind. But more and more that I consciously, intentionally trying to program myself into living in cyclical time, more and more my life is living into cyclical time. That means that I can allow my soul to wake me up when I need to wake up. Like, I don't need an alarm clock. I don't need, like, intuitively I know, like, hey, I need to be there. I know it's like, oh, now I need to start this. Like, I just started this silence meditation, for example. And then I kind of knew intuitively it wouldn't be popular, but I knew that I had to do this. The moment it came, it was like, oh, boom. The next day it was launched. I'm not second guessing, like, oh, should I do this or should I plan this? Like, it's like the answer come to me and then I do it right away. And sometimes we feel lost because we don't have clarity, but we don't have clarity because we are in limbo. And limbo state is in between cycles. It's that place where we can experience waiting and boredom. And because we're like so programmed into producing, becoming, doing, then we don't allow ourselves to live boredom and waiting, which is our very powerful wisdom. And our soul wants to live these experiences. So less that you're allowing yourself to live boredom, more that you're experiencing boredom. Same thing with that, more that you're avoiding ending cycle, avoiding all these mini death in your life, ending a relationship or project, ending a day, ending a ceremony, ending a podcast properly, consciously honoring the container energetically, honoring like now I have plants in front of me and they're literally like dying. I've been having them for a week. And well, I'm going to have to go through a process of honoring their death. And I'm going to like give them back away to the universe, right? More I'm honoring that, and less I am creating death in physical death in my life. That's what I believe, because I'm facing that energy instead of avoiding it. So there's less and less decay. And I can see this in my people. They tell me all the time. Like I saw somebody like 1 month ago that I didn't see in 3 years. And he was like, what did you do? Like, what happened? Like, are you on mushroom right now? What's going on? Like, your eyes are like sparkling diamonds. Your white, the white is so white. And they're not always like that. But I also noticed that I'm like, whoa, what is this? My skin is different. My body feels different. The way I'm eating is different. The way I'm sleeping is different. And I'm just getting started. So I feel like if I move on to like 6 months from now, 2 years from now, wow, we're moving fast now. AI is going to be moving fast, but consciously we're going to be moving way faster because like there's always going to be that balance too.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. This concept of time, and a couple of years ago, I was just playing around with like, could I expand time to just do like if I wanted to go do a thing and it was a 2 hour like working out, I was always trying to squeeze in working out, and I was like, I want to be able to get my workouts in and not rush. I was able to, I had 1 hour and I did like a 3 hour workout in that time, and playing around with, can I always arrive on time like without working with a watch? But this concept of cyclical time, and like personally, the thing that's helped me the most with that is like paying attention to the moon cycles, like the seasonal cycles. How do you suggest people get started with transitioning from linear to cyclical for beginners?
I believe it's about any process in life. So first, it's about understanding logical reasoning. So it's about reading about it, listening about it. You can use ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT, like, what is the difference between linear time and cyclical time, and go through down the rabbit hole of that. And then you can ask ChatGPT, like, how can I live more in cyclical time? So this is a great exploration. After this, you need to embody it in your body. So in meditation. So you go in meditation and then you visualize, you feel, you create in your mind in different realms. How does it feel to live in cyclical time? You set the intention with God to start living in cyclical time. You reboot yourself in cyclical time. You can visualize your cells turning into cyclical time. And then naturally after that is living it. But the living it, the integration is going to be slow. So it's like you need to be patient with this, but it's going to happen naturally if you set the whole program. Because basically we are programmers, but it's not only enough to program with the thoughts. You need to program also with the embodiment in the body. So that's when meditation come in hand. And then after this, you need to become like a living meditation. And that's the process with everything, whatever you're trying to accomplish or manifest.
I was having a conversation with a friend, colleague the other day, and he was arguing that, be careful about your teachers because they're like acting as intermediaries. He's like, that's the whole problem with religion is like someone's trying to come and be an intermediary between you and source or you and God. And I was like, well, I really like all the, people that are guiding me, like all these beings that I connect with that are helpful in different ways. What are your thoughts about, connecting with like other ascended masters or like your and things like that?
I believe it's the same topic we just did before. It's the process of time and processes. So it's like personally in my life, I went through different mentors and then I ended like a process with these mentors that are either like people publicly, like books and all these institutes, or physically personally. And then I moved to another spiral upward. So allowing yourself to not identify to like, okay, like this person, blah, blah, blah. And then you get what you can get from this person and then you move to another exploration after that. So same thing with these beings, same. So you don't want to be like, oh, Jesus is the one, and it's allow yourself to explore the whole Jesus energy and then go to another ascended master. And then eventually you're going to go through an archangels, but then you're going to realize, wait a minute, archangels are controlling us in a way. Like all these beings are having different levels of distortions. And as you start, and you cannot go straight to source. You need to go like step by step, understanding all these layers because you start seeing how they live, how they embody light. And then more and more you start understanding differently source. And what we think is source most of the time is not the source because there's always a deeper layer because everything is always evolving. Source is not static. And in the spiritual realm, industry, most people, they believe that source is white, but source is, from my experience, is not white. It's not only white. It's only one part of the spectrum. And white, I can go through a whole explanation of that. This is another topic too. It's fascinating. And basically, it's like everything is good until you realize that it's not good anymore for you. And that's the same with all the teachers and all these explorations. And it's like we reach a plateau in life and we're all on different journeys. So there's not like one truth. But if I may share, like I realized personally that I was addicted to water and I was programmed on drinking water. And I started channeling like, why am I drinking water? Like, do I need to drink water? Or is that program? And I started realizing, wait, there is a 4-dimensional parasite in my throat that are hijacking my thoughts, telling me to drink water because I was always thirsty. And I was like, why am I always thirsty? My mouth is always dry. Like I just drank water. I'm not supposed to be thirsty, And I'm not saying we don't need water. And then it's like, like we're all on a different process. We're all on different consciousness, but we should tap into a different intuition and question things sometimes too. So like I saw recently this guy on Instagram, like he's dry fasting. His life is dry fasting, like a Breatharian. Like he's not feeding himself with anything. But he said he has so much energy that his body needs to move. He's running marathons. He's swimming. He's constantly working out. He cannot rest. It's like, where's this energy is coming from? And even him, he doesn't know because he doesn't seem to be fully tap into like spirituality, chakras, energy, all these things. But he knows that he's tapping into something.
I was friends with a breatharian when we lived in Bali, and I was like constantly watching to see like if she ever really did eat anything, and I never saw her eat anything. And it was so interesting. She would talk about when she first started being a breatharian, and her boyfriend, I think, was like, "You can't do that," and it made her really sick. And then she broke up with her boyfriend and then she got healthy and it worked for her. Like she had all the energy.
For sure. And that's the whole process of changing in life. The fear of change is subconsciously based on letting go of things that we currently have in our life, relationships or whatever it is.
Earlier, you were talking about the soul star and how when we go on these journeys and beings are like activating stuff, but that the stuff they're activating is already in the soul star.
Yeah.
It sounded a lot like, a dream that I've always had is like in the Matrix movie, how they're just like down low, like I know Kung Fu. Like that would be so cool, right? To just like instantly know things. It sounds kind of like that.
Yeah, it is. I believe it's possible at some level for sure.
Could you say more about the soul star and its purpose?
For sure. Each time I do ceremonies or one-on-one sessions. I bring people in my temple, and then over time they start showing my white lion aspect that I mostly work with in this life for certain reason linked to my soul mission. And he always go in the back of the person, press different point on top of the head, and then it's almost like he's typing on a keyboard. The soul star opens like an hologram, almost like a screen, and then he sees all the programs, and then he open programs, and the program they download inside of the head of the person. So he activate different codes and allow the person to remember part of their embodiment, their journey, their wisdom. Basically, there's this theory that these bodies are too dense, too heavy. They have too much shadows, that our soul is not fully here in this body. And the journey of ascension is not to go up, but to descend down the soul inside of this body. So more and more that you remove shadows, more and more you allow your soul to enter the body. And it's a never ending journey. There's a time where you're like, oh, finally my soul is here. It's like, it's always evolving. And it happened to me a few years ago. I had like a rebirthing session. It's like an hour and a half slow, gentle breath work in the hot tub with hot water. And I saw my soul floating above with the silver cord. First time I really talked to my soul. And I was like, I'm even crying now. And my soul's like, no, like this is not good. Like this is, I don't want to live this. You need to continue the process and cleaning, and then slowly we're going to meet each other. And obviously, like, it's not English, you know, the conversation. Now I'm paraphrasing, right?
Yeah.
Translating, but it was a fascinating moment in my life. And all my life I had rashes everywhere. And at some point it was very bad all over my face. And I understood that, yeah, basically was because my soul was not in my body. It was mostly out. And as I said, it was like, it's a process always coming back down, back down. It's like, it was mostly out all of my life, like mostly out. So who was running this body? Not sure. It's just a slight part of consciousness from source, from my higher self, from a bit of my soul, but it was mostly the ego running the show.
And your soul didn't want to be in the body because of the physical.
It was too dense. And also, like us, some of us are having experiences in higher dimension, what we call starseed, or you can call them hybrid, or so much theories. And there's even theories that everybody's a starseed, but there's definitely like some people that are tapped in differently, and they are here on a different mission. But this theory says that these starseeds, their soul is too high frequency to embody this body. So that's what I've been seeing, and also talking to friends that are on a similar journey. Is like they have different processes with this body. It's like it's like, it's almost like they're not able to really like anchor this body. And it's a process of never ending the body to welcome more. And more you welcome, more you start remembering. So I start remembering not all, I'm sorry, but multiple versions of myself through multiple realms, dimensions. And then through this, I started mirroring all these aspects and receiving like the overall personality of my soul is like blue, a bit of purple, a bit of silver, and a tiny bit of gold. And all these incarnations that I encounter in all these dimensions, they embody these frequencies. They are essence. They're
Gotcha. So you're becoming more like your soul self and less like your ego self.
you're more and more. So I believe that before, like, the ego, human personality is running the show, like I would say maybe 90% of the time. And again, we cannot really quantify this, very logical to do this, but it's just an example. And then more and more that you do a spiritual journey, more and more that you're maybe bringing it down to like 50-50 or something like that. I believe this whole like conversation about like we are eternal soul is a bit distorted. It is true, but at the end of the day, it's like our soul is an aspect of us here and now. We are on the play, on a game, to have the possibility to master the whole creation, which is to merge the human personality that we kind of like dictated before coming with like whatever archetype, you know, like astral sign and birthday and all these personality traits that we have, and then merging it with the soul personality that has all this wisdom. So people lose themselves saying sometimes like, oh, I come from this planet. Oh, I remember in my past life this, blah, blah. It is simply an aspect of your soul. It's not fully who you are here and now. Who you are here and now is like the human merging with the soul. It's a unique avatar that will never be created in the whole creation. And the opportunity we have, especially right now, and as we transition to 3D to 5D, is to immortalize this avatar. And this is the ultimate subject, and it's going to get more and more and more and more popular. Everybody's going to talk about that. All corporations is going to talk about that. The ultimate subject is rejuvenation, reverse aging, and mastering immortality. And then we're here in this life for this, I believe. the service to self beings are going to do it through technology with nanotech, with biohacking, all these type of techniques. And spiritual beings are going to do it through pranic feeding, but slightly transitioning more and more. Maybe not every spiritual beings, but they're going to move towards source feeding. And so when you're pranic feeding, you're still dependent to something that is outside of you, like the sun, the earth, the air, the water. But source feeding is like you're not dependent to anything. It's just you're bursting, it's bursting out of you. And that's ultimate mastery. And then maybe like some of these source feeding humans are going to be able to create the AI technological like immortality humans and the pranic feeding Bretonnian humans. And then they're going to start creating that harmony between the two.
Are you eating right now? Do you still?
Yeah, I eat everything. People ask me what do you eat. I eat as much as I can intuitively. So intuitively, I know like I really need to eat the burger. Why? Most likely because I went into different realms that were too high for this body. So I need to cut back down. There is times that I, like everybody, where I'm eating through shadows. I'm eating because I'm going through an emotional process or whatever it is. And we shouldn't be, like too harsh on ourselves to, right? Allow yourself to live this, allow yourself to experience whatever it is. But if it becomes an addiction or a pattern, then yeah, you want to change that for sure.
And it's so funny. The last like week, I've felt this like a lot of heat in my body, and it's just been making me like eat so much more. It's really interesting. It's like, what
In
is
your solar
going on?
plexus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going through an activation. You don't need to judge it. Like, go have fun, eat whatever it is. Fire is burning it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like we're so programmed into like thinking that we need to live in a certain way, but we're all different. We all have different consciousness and then different processes, different intuition. So there's no like people ask me, oh, how many hours I should sleep? You should figure this out for yourself, depending on your consciousness. And also it doesn't need to be like, oh, and I'm at this level of consciousness. That means I need to sleep 4 hours per night. No, it changes all the time because everything is a cycle. So you might go through, for example, like 3 days of water fasting and then eat for 3 days and whatever. You might go through a whole 3 months of like eating once a day. And then after this, you eat 5 times per day, whatever. Like allow yourself to not identify to anything. And even in terms of relationship, like I know it's hard for people, but it's like, like we think we are monogamous. It's an identity. Like you're experiencing this now. Allow yourself to maybe experience something else and come back to it or not. Like it's like more that you create yourself labels and identity, more you're creating present for yourself. Like this whole topic of also is like am I gay or either or whatever. It's like more and more that you tap with your soul is non-dual, so it's very confusing. What you're attracted to is not a human body. You're attracted to into like a soul and energy. And me, I see this more and more. It's like before I was so attracted by the woman body, but now I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like this is not arousing me. I'm not saying that okay, I'm transitioning to being attracted to men, but I'm like now what is arousing me is the energy behind the human. It's like I'm getting aroused through the intuition, through the feel. And then I saw this when I was in Dubai. I was seeing this guy in the bachata scene, like a gay guy, and he was so embodied, like so confident in his whole body and the way he was dancing. I was like, wow, so interesting. And then I could tell like I wanted to pick up some of his styles, about his energy. So I was always analyzing him. And over time I did pick up some of his style of dancing and even clothing, things like that. And so yeah, everything is just a mirror and we can learn from anything and we don't need to label ourselves. And it's not because like, okay, I say these things that you need to act on these things. There's a lot of thoughts we have and these thoughts might create different realities, right? Because they're all parallel and different timelines, but doesn't mean that you need to act on them also. It's your own choice. You could or not. Don't feel ashamed if you act on them or not. Like, I don't know if I would experience this in my life, but there's this special guy and from Montreal, like it's a bit famous. He's a singer and he's sharing openly like his polyamory lifestyle. And he was sharing that he went into a sex temple party, whatever. And then he was having fun having sex with people. And then he's just hanging out like on the sofa and then just having a good time watching people. And then he started feeding somebody, giving him a blowjob, and he's like, "Oh, this feels good." And he turned down, and he's like, "It's a man." And he's like, "Whoa!" For the first time, like a man sucking his dick. And then he's like, in the moment, like, "Well, what am I doing?" And he starts surrendering to the experience and liking it. And he's sharing this publicly, and I'm like, "Wow!" First of all, like congrats for sharing this publicly on a podcast, right? Overcoming different layers of judgment and all these things. And congrats for going through this experience without judging yourself. These are all layers. It's all ego there, you know? And I'm not saying, hey, we need to go through all that. It's all going to be a individual, personalized experience. But sometimes we block ourselves, we repress ourselves because we think, oh, who am I? Because I did this or I did that. And that goes with any topic, not only sexual energy.
Can we circle back to Black Power? And, you know, so I did
It's
Kundalini.
interlinked. It's interlinked.
It's interlinked.
Yeah, because Black Powers is under, it's like the opposite of like what we can understand. It's raw, it's chaotic, it's like unfuckable, it's destruction, it's like one moment it could be like so loving and the other moment is like could be stabbing you in the back. And it's like, how can you surrender with this? And most people, they're like, I cannot do that. It's impossible. But that's a process of the universe of surrendering to whatever experience you're living is meant for you.
A lot of spiritual work is like you're bringing light to something or love, or right, like you said, your best form of protection is your heart. Yeah, where does Black Power fit in with that? And I think it's like, when you think about the dark side in Star Wars, it's like the Black Power is tempting because it is more powerful. Like you could bring someone back from the dead, or it's like, so how do you approach it in a way that's like to not get overrun by it, I suppose.
So in this topic, there's everything you dark, right? That's a great example of Star Wars. So like black magic is part of this. Anything basically that the service to self are doing is, in a way, they're using Black Power to create matrices, control deceptions. So this matrix, this dome here is creating through a black box technology. And we see these black box everywhere. In Saudi Arabia, at La Mecca, this is one black box portal. There's like in every city, like black box street arts. And these are all tiny portals. And they're all anchored into, I believe, into some type of black box in the underground that is then projecting out this dome. And they're feeding this black box through all the harvested negative emotion and sexual energy from us, mainly in the dream realm. And so that the journey to liberate ourselves from the dome is to liberate ourselves from all these hijacks. But it's not like if you start like, okay, I'm going to remove this cord, I'm remove this hijack, I'm going to remove this prison from this realm. It is possible to do this, but it's a slow process. It is a bit needed because like you're bringing different understanding in the whole multiverse and within yourself. But there's a point, like any journey, where like, okay, I'm done. I embody it now, because like it's never going to be ending, all the shadow that you can transmute. And then when you just embody it, then you start realizing, wait a minute, what if I take shadow, whatever it is, like an entity, instead of like removing the entity and sending it back to the white source? Well, I take this entity, but I transform it into black power. And this is a very interesting topic. While you're getting a lot of life force out of that. Like, for example, like the vaccine was created for multiple reasons. It's like, and then there's a whole topic. But in my session with clients, I saw that each time that someone had the vaccine, they had like a chain on their ankle that was anchoring them down into the underworld, into these platforms. So basically it was an etheric weapon to entrap souls in this construct. And then I would like remove consent and remove these chains and all these things, and then clean their body and all these things. But over time I realized, wait a minute, if a being is ready, has the right consciousness, the right light, the right mindset, the right exploration, wisdom, experiences, it could literally like tap into these platforms, keep these chains, but instead of like these chains, like it's like you're reversing it. You're transforming it into black power, and you're receiving it into black power, and you're embodying these control mechanisms. You're transforming them into more shadows, but like you know how to contain shadows, so therefore it become, instead of controlling you, you control it. And this is all like sci-fi movies for sure. But this is really happening. This is really happening in your body. And that's how we become more and more powerful. Like, it's not only about this body, it's about all our bodies. We have 7 bodies linked to each chakra. We have our dream body. And I believe that we have more. Each time that we do these embodiment activation, all these bodies, they expand. When you get out of your body, like you can live this, you're so big and you're a different persona, but we're identifying ourselves to this physical body. And people, they share this sometimes when they start astral traveling, they get out and they project themselves as this body because it's a mental construct. but you can literally like shift your form. So yeah, everything we do is interconnected, but like that black source, there's a primary source, I believe, and it's in the lower dantian. It's in between the root and sacral. And that lower dantian is like a reservoir container that can hold life force. And it holds specifically that black source life force. The middle one is more transparent and then the higher one in the head is more white. So the whole process of the universe of merging the white with the black and then tap into non-duality that feels like no frequency. And yeah, it's like more and more that me, I tap into that black power and embody it more and more. I stopped trying to remove all these control hijacks. Naturally, like I was like, reclaiming back, embodying it. And there was a form of protection that came to this. Like the obsidian stones, for example, they protect. Right. Some level is the same, right? More that you're embodying black, more that you protect, but yeah, again, it's like it's your consciousness. You need to be aware of how to do it. It's so hard to explain all this, but
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally
yeah,
understand, but
we
it's
need to
like,
live it. We need to live it, right?
yeah.
That's why like we can reason about it right now as much as we can, but I need to bring you into a meditation and make you live it, you know? And maybe right now isn't the time, but that's the process.
Yeah, it's something that I'm noticing like I'm a little bit wary of, right? Like for some reason I don't want to like it seems like a better choice to remove a chain than to like try to
For
integrate
sure.
it.
For sure, 100%.
So,
Because if you're embodying Venom, for example, the movie Venom, then you're embodying this black power that has its own consciousness, that has this tendency of wanting to whatever do its own thing. So it's like you're dealing with a consciousness that you're like, whoa, what is this? And we see this in all the spray, like the movie Blue Beetle from DC. It's like submerging with this like scarabée, and then it started like burning into black power, and then it transformed into this superhero. And right away, when the superhero suit is locked in, it's like it's a female voice that say, "Welcome. What can I do for you?" And then each thought is like, "Okay, I want to this, create this weapon." It's like so. It's but constantly he's talking to it, and towards the end of the movie, it merged with it. It become one. It become there's no more like that dual communion conversation in his head. It's like they become one together. And that's the whole journey of enlightenment. It's that all spiritual movies are just reflecting, mirroring this.
which movie was that?
That's Blue Beetle, but every superhero journey are reflecting the same process. Like we see this in the movie Lucy at the end when like she's merging with the thing, and then she becomes the quantum computer, merging with all the quantum computer, and then she's accessing 100% of her brain. It's like she's becoming it. She's in everything. That's the
Yeah, to check out Blue Beetle. That's the second time someone's mentioned that.
yeah, that's very good, very good. With its own limitation, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you be up for sharing? I know one of your like signature things that you developed is a soul audit. And you mentioned earlier, like you could, when you were activating your octahedral temple, like you could see mine. I was wondering if there's like any of your techniques or processes that you'd like to, or you'd be up for
Showcase.
to just like,
Doing a transmission now, you mean?
yeah, just to like give me some personal insight.
Yeah. Like, so this is about mastering muscle testing. So over time, I transitioned from like the ring and ring technique like this to asking yes and no. It's like, yes, it's like a resistance because when it's something is true, yes, it creates life force, vitality in the body. So the body is creating strength. And when something is no and false, then it's creating weakness. So it's very subtle. It's not only like here, it's a whole extension that, and at the end of the day, it's really the heart chakra that gives the answers. And people, they have like different limitation when they start working with muscle testing. If you smoke weed, for example, your body's not gonna be the right frequency to do that. If your body is lower 200 on the map of consciousness because you hate your body, it's not gonna be able to do that. So your body needs to be over 200 on the map. And then you need to practice, practice, practice. Over time, you're gonna see different distortion. Over time, you're gonna start mastering it. And then me after this, I started transitioning towards like laser scanning. So I just stay locked in, and then with my awareness, I scan whatever it is. It can be a chart. It can be even like Google Map, and then I'm like, where do I need to go next? And it's like through my awareness, it locks in. So I before I would scan like, is this yes or no? Is this yes or no? It would be like kind of a slow process, but then faster than the pendulum. But now it's like boom, like I can scan boom with awareness. And then after this, I transitioned towards just one hand. So I use like just like this. I'm just putting out, but I'm not even moving, and I feel the resistance. So now I'm saving time, so I can do it everywhere. But muscle testing is not about just doing muscle testing. It's about confirming your intuition. So you're confirming with using other form of intuition. So clairsentience, I'm feeling it in my chakra, confirmation with goosebumps or heart pulsations or third eye pulsation. I'm also confirming with some type of visions, clairvoyance. I'm confirming with some types of knowing. I'm confirming sometime for me, rarely clear audience with thought process and hearing things. So it's a combination of everything. We try to explain all this through separating them all, but at the end of the day, they're just one intuition. And then, but the beauty of muscle testing, it's allowing you to use charts. So I can start using charts. So a chart for chakra emotion needs shadows linked to the matrix, shadow linked to the soul. I can start using charts for colors and I can ask your soul colors. I can start having a chart about all the galactic beings that are popular and then scan exactly what are you. So I have all these charts and then through scanning all these things, I create a report. And then with this report, it's giving me a story because everything is interconnected. Usually when we have something that we're trying to fix, it's not only in one section in the body. It's always interconnected with something else. So, and there's different layers. Like sometimes because it's a never ending process. So there's something behind it. So when you start seeing a bigger map, then you're like, whoa, okay, this is a great perspective that most clients, they're going to work on for 3 to 6 months on. And then I do a transmission. So I go into Zoom, I start recording for 40 minutes. I bring their soul into my inner temple. There's one starseed aspect of them that show up. The starseed aspect start working with my white lion or another of my starseed aspect. And then they're doing the psychic surgery, the light activation using all type of techniques to transmute all the shadows that we found in the report. That's the whole technique and it evolved a lot over time. I've been doing this for maybe 4 years, giving this to different people. I probably did something like 1,000 readings or something. And I evolve, and it's always evolving. And yeah, it's been my own way of healing myself in a way, but it's not the ultimate solution. We also need to receive from others. We need to experiment also techniques that are linked to the body that will never able to reason. Like for example, intuitive touch, where like someone that is very active just touch you and then you're receiving a healing and you'll never understand what you just healed. And so, yeah. So through this, I can, yeah, like right away, like I feel without even asking, I kind of like knew because everything is a mirror also. And I'm going through a similar process that, yeah, it's like your front solar plexus. And this is linked to like that fire that is making you eat that you were sharing. So it's like, yeah, if that's what they want us to explore for you here. And then, so I could like start taking my charts and then start getting a perspective of what it could be. And then give me like some type of a trust in my being or some type of knowing that I can go easier into a channeling after. So yeah, I can pick up some charts here and check.
I mean, are you up for a little bit of that?
Yeah, I can do this one quickly. And what we need to understand is like behind any shadows, it's just a next level embodiment that wants to arise. So sometimes it's not something that I need to heal or remove or transform, but it's about understanding what is sleeping behind. So a lot of people, they try to heal whatever, like let's say depression, and they're trying to like, okay, I need to fix my depression. But it's less about the depression itself. It's like what is behind the depression that wants to birth itself. And once you understand what wants to burst itself, naturally the depression goes away. So that's what happening with you here. It's not, I'm scanning all my negative shadow charts and nothing is coming in, but I have like one chart here of positive emotion and the energy of happiness are linked to the sun, right? Radiance. And our inner sun is the solar plexus. The solar plexus is personal power. It's about willpower. It's about taking action. It's about our own identity, believing in our own uniqueness. What I was telling you earlier, it's like you're the human merging with the soul. So can you believe in your own uniqueness and how your own uniqueness is so powerful? You know, like when we meet others, like maybe with your like your romantic partners, like, yes, we are channel of God. We can have like a very intense, like vortex together, maybe to tantric sex, we become like a vessel, but we're also like that uniqueness that it's like that piece of art that you're merging with that will never be created. So can you believe in your own piece of art in without comparing your piece of art into with others, like, and then realizing, whoa, actually, I'm so beautiful. I'm so unique. I love myself with all these versions or aspect, personality traits, all these things. And then this is all the mental work. I told you this is the first step. And then after that, I tap into it. So I need to bring attention into it and I can bring beings to help you reflect this, mirror this, and they're going to activate it. So we can do it here. I feel like the beings are already there. It's not going to take long. And I don't even need to bring you into my third temple. So just close your eyes
Okay.
and bring your attention to your solar plexus in the front. With my white octarians, it's coming here. It's right in front of you. And his feminine hand to activate your feminine solar plexus, because the front solar plexus is the feminine solar plexus. So it's an aspect of, it's not about your inner feminine, but it's about embodying a feminine aspect of life. Because I was asking just now, like, is this blockage linked to your inner feminine? No. So that feminine aspect of life in the solar plexus is linked to radiate, embodying the loving being seen. Like we can see women walking the street and loving being seen in their own beauty, right? And what they're wearing. It's the same. It's like, can you start walking the street like and getting attention? And it's okay to have people come to you and say, hey, you're very beautiful. Like, and welcoming this, like even like seeking it or demanding it. Demanding is the right word. Like demanding what you're worthy of, right? And it's not about like being egocentric and seeking this all the time. It's like, it's the balance. So my right octane is using his left hand to put this tiny, tiny gemstone that is silver, super tiny, in the center of your solar plexus. And silver is the divine feminine. It's the divine feminine ray. So it starts pulsating, rotating, spiraling upward in the front, the yellow and silver vortex, and we start activating your solar plexus. And now the energy is activating down. As I said, it's always different layers hidden behind a first activation or shadow. So now it's going down into your sacral. All this energy, silver and yellow, is creating a bridge down into your sacral, connecting your sacral to your solar plexus. Because the chakras are not separated, working with each other. Ultimately, we have only one chakra. It's like we need to play with the duality, inner feminine, masculine, and all these different layers of chakras, but we need to remind ourselves that we're also a non-dual being. We're unified. So here the sacral is communicating back and forth with the Iwatactarians, is rubbing your belly with his palm. Now you're just leaving his hand there, and you can take some big breath in your belly, expand your belly. It's about feeding your energy here, and we're going to be connecting it with your willpower, your circuit. So your energical womb is right now, it's being shown as a small transparent ball of energy in the area of the belly button and a bit lower. It's inside your belly. It is not a dantian. It is a version of your aura, but it feels like it's very beginning. It's like birthing itself. That's how it feels like. Expanding it, because the aura can expand to all the three lower chakras. So now we're expanding it. It goes to whole space for the root chakra, your pelvic floor, and then it goes up to whole space to above the solar plexus, between solar plexus and heart in the sun center. And it starts creating this transparent vertical egg that is slightly rotating, spinning. And now the three lower chakras that are aligning with each other, they're being held by that aura, that egg. That's the egg of creation. It is a very similar process than women with their materials. They're holding life. For us, we're holding projects that we want to birth into the physical. I mean, for us, the umbilical cord is not closed. There's a cord there that is tapping into the infinite. So you can visualize a transparent umbilical cord on your belly button that's coming out, and you're receiving infinite amount of consciousness entering your belly, but also energetically entering all your seven subtle bodies, entering your aura. It becomes a massive vortex. Like women, they have souls entering this cord to enter their uterus when they become pregnant. But for us, we welcome light codes, channels, ideas, life forms. And that's it. For now, this is it. And what I want to share with you is that there's a lot of processes. Like me, I scan a lot of things in the, so there's people that pay, like I charge something that can be expensive for some people. And I see these people like investing, and for them it's hard investing that amount of money. And I feel like, well, okay. But it's like they come at me like, please, I need help fixing this and this and that. But they don't even do the foundation. They don't even meditate on their chakras. They don't activate their chakras. They don't, you know? So it's like you can try to transmute and heal all type of things, but if you're trying to feel your chakras, well, it's, sometimes you're not going to need to go to healing, whatever. It's always a back and forth. It's very personalized for each person, but we need to have these routines. Like people ask me like, what is the main thing I should have focus on? Like, it's not a routine, I'm sorry, but like a discipline. And the main discipline that you should have is doing your energical work every day, having your meditation, but doesn't need to be a meditation. It can be all type of practices. It can be changing, because if you always do the same practice, then it become redundant. It become like you're doing it from like a robotic environment. So when you change, all type of practices. Then you go into the new, you go to unknown, welcome something that you were not expecting. It's always about like welcoming something that you were not, because if you expect, oh, I want to do this meditation because like last time I did it, I felt amazing, and you're not going to be able to go there again because you're expecting it.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. And thanks for sharing.
My pleasure. And it's just divine planning. But what I'm trying to say is like, there's a lot of, for example, a lot of men are losing their hair. Why are they losing their hair? And I started asking him and chanting all that. And everyone I see, men with no hair, I ask in their body, where is the point in their body that they're lacking? And it's always what we just did. It's always the energical womb. It's always the aura. Men are disconnected from their aura. And that's why women are having red hair, is because they're naturally bound into the womb, because they're bound into Mother Earth energy with their whole body mechanism.
So instead of losing their hair, it turns gray, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
There's men that literally lose their hair, right? The whole like change of color, that's another topic, I believe.
Mm.
But it's not, nothing is always like, like absolute. Like I tell you, okay, like the main reason that men lose their hair is their energetical womb. It can be a lot of energetical things. The foundation can be the DNA. It can be also the genes. We need to clear all the collective baggage into that. There's a lot of also shadows in the testicle that are affecting the testosterone. There's also a lot of things in the testicle and the prostate are holding a lot of potential life force that we're not tapping into because we don't know how. There's also a lot of hijack from the matrix and source yourself with different 4-dimensional technologies and frequencies, because the hair are an extension of our of our nervous system. They are to receive information, wisdom, that goes.
I always wondered about, so all my kids wanted to grow their hair long. And I know there's like the Sikhs, they never cut their hair.
Yeah.
And I've heard that hair is an antenna of sorts.
Yeah, it holds a lot of energy. And when you cut your hair, you're going through some type of a ending, right? That's why sometimes we see women like shaving their hair. It's like they want to end a part of their experience and they want to birth something new.
Interesting. It's like the longer the hair, the more attractive the woman is, in my opinion.
I feel similar about that, but I saw a lot of women like with short hair. I was like, wow, and this evolved over time with me. As I said earlier, before I was very attracted to the physical body, but now I see beyond it. So I could see a woman that is fully embodied with her own spirituality, light, energy, and I'm like, wow, the way she walks. And that's also a bit of the lacking in the spiritual industry. We talk about like, like channeling, transmuting, like beings, all these things, but very few people talks about elegance, charming, being sexy. And these are energies that are like magnets, and all these energy that equal magnet means sacral energy. It means manifestation. And you can feel that when you walk, you see these people, you're like, right? All these people, they attract attention, and they embody that thing that we just worked on you, which is welcoming that attention, like believing, yeah, I'm a piece of art walking and I'm a gift for you right now. Just to me walking, right? So sometimes it feels weird because like people are watching me. It happens all the time. Like I just, not all the time, but often, because obviously we're not always in that state. But sometimes like people, they look at me curious, like what's going on with this person, and they don't know what it is. And I always smile. And
man, we've covered a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, for an hour and a half, I think, right?
All right, bye bye.